I put all my chronic diseases in remission, and that includes my anxiety. I didn't think that was even possible. I always had hope that food was the trigger. I'm the diet guy. Oh, it has to be the food. There is invisible inflammation. I think that's why so many people are like, oh no, food's not a trigger for me. Hey healthy girls, welcome back to Adamimmune, the channel about helping you improve your autoimmune health naturally. And today I want to talk about something that I've kind of hidden for a long time, mainly for myself. I don't usually talk about something like this, but I think it's finally time I share this one hard truth. Healing is difficult. It's hard. Maybe I never said straight up that it was easy, but I have said before that there are simple tips that we can follow. How do I explain this? Okay, I drew a little circle, okay? Hopefully you can see that. It's not a perfect circle. This represents our circle of understanding, okay? Sort of our knowledge when it comes to healing. Now look at the circumference of that. It's not very big, right? There's not very much surface area. But as we expand our circle of knowledge, so too does our surface area, right? Our understanding of what we don't know. I don't know what inspired me, but I woke up this morning, I'm like, man, healing is hard, you know? How do I help people the best way? What are some things I can just share about healing? And maybe it'll make people understand, maybe it'll be relatable to some people, why healing is so hard, and maybe some tips to how we can overcome them. So the number one thing I would say is there's no healing blueprint, okay? A lot of people will tell you, oh yeah, you just gotta go keto and that'll heal you, or you gotta do AIP, or like I used to probably, or you gotta do this and mix and match this. But the truth is, none of those things are gonna work, and at least they're not gonna work for everyone. You know, I used to think that the mainstream healers, the health influencers, they were just like cowards because they gave us this narrative that was just simple. Oh yeah, drink more water, eat more plants, whatever. Now I finally get it. Maybe they're not cowards. They just understand, well, maybe most of them understand that one thing isn't going to help everybody. So maybe they keep it a little more basic. They're not looking for maybe a more efficient process or wanting to create that system to help more people. And that's what I want to create, because I just think these are lacking, you know? I'm not quite there yet. I have 200 pages full of notes, but in the future, it's definitely coming. I'm still working on this, so if you have any tips, leave them in the comments or DM me on my Instagram. I'm always open to ideas. Again, my circle of knowledge is still small, or at least I think it is. Number 2. Inflammation is another problem that makes healing so difficult. Okay, how do I explain this? It is kind of like cleaning your room. Let's say you go in your room and the lights are off, right? You can't see anything wrong. Oh, it's perfect because it's dark, I can't see anything. But once you turn the lights on, you start to see the mess, right? That's kind of like inflammation. And then you start, oh, you look at your bed. Oh, you pull back the covers. Oh, there's stuff all over your bed, right? That's inflammation. Once you fix one thing, another thing shows up and you're like, oh gosh, I didn't even realize I had this problem. Because let's say you have a metabolic disorder, okay? You have an insulin resistance issue and so you cut back on your sugar and then you lower your inflammation. And then you start to realize, well, maybe I have hormonal issues, you know? Because a lot of symptoms from a lot of different root causes look the same. You know, there's a lot of overlapping there, aren't there? With a lot of chronic diseases. You got to start peeling back those layers of inflammation, just like an onion, and then they will all become more clear. It's kind of like my last video when I talked about histamine issues. Let's say if I hadn't started out paleo, and then uncovered some inflammation and made it easier to see triggers, and then I went AIP, that made it easier to see more triggers, right? And then I went keto, and then I could see more triggers, and now I do what I do now, and I was like, oh look, histamines are a problem. In the beginning, there is no way I could have known histamines were causing my anxiety. But here I am today, 2 miracles down. I put all my chronic diseases in remission, and that includes my anxiety. I didn't think that was even possible. I always had hope that food was the trigger. I'm the diet guy. Oh, it has to be the food. What am I eating? It was the food. I mean, of course, there are lifestyle factors as well, and variables, environmental triggers, but those are for another video. Just keep in mind that inflammation isn't always seen, okay? There is invisible inflammation. I think that's why so many people are like, oh no, food's not a trigger for me. Well, trust me, it probably is in 99% of cases. You just can't see the inflammation. On to the next one. Number 3. Another reason why it's hard for people to heal is because they don't give up the most statistical triggers first, okay? So like with AIP and, keto or any basic protocol, you're gonna, okay, don't smoke, don't drink, this and this and this. Probably give up grains if you're on any Paleolithic or ancestral diet. Well, a lot of people just can't do that, right? And then when you're on more specific things, let's say let's say you are on AIP for a long time. You're like me. I was like, I love sweet potatoes. I'm like, I'm the sweet potato guy. I love them. I can eat sweet potato and still be sort of low carb, almost keto, under 50 grams, and these are good. And then I'm like, well, I really, after a while, I noticed, again, with the inflammation thing, after a while, I'm like, well, my digestion isn't perfect yet. I'm in remission eating sweet potatoes, but it's not perfect. My advice here is don't fall in love with foods on the journey, okay? Okay, I still love beef, but if I had to cut out beef to find remission and to stay in remission and to be my healing best and to optimize, I would do that. Try not to identify with the way you eat. Believe me, I'm telling you this because I've made these mistakes, guys, okay? Identify with healing, okay? We'll talk more about this in a little bit, but just trust me on this. You're gonna have to give up some things, okay? I think you kind of know that, and it might be only temporary. You might be able to add those things back in later on. You never know. Number 4, yeah, I would say maybe the most hard part of healing is the consistency part. People have a really difficult time doing the same thing every day, or doing it for a certain period of time. Like, people are kind of impatient, I've noticed, and I was too at the same time. Sometimes it's more about like a phasing in of things. Did I go completely AIP overnight? No, it didn't. Did I cut alcohol out overnight? No. But slowly over time, I was able to be more consistent. So you just have to be patient with yourself. You have to give yourself some love and time. Nobody is going to heal anything overnight, okay? Even with the histamine thing, I mean, it takes, up to 21 days to get out of your body fully. So like if you're having a histamine issue, you cut out all histamine foods with all histamines, not that you can do that, but you can try, and you start eating liver to help detox your body and everything. The next day, you're not going to wake up, ooh, I'm better, wow, what a miracle. You're going to have to wait. Your body detoxes. It takes time, okay? I hate to say detoxes and cleanses, but your body naturally does it for you, okay? I'm not saying you have to take something for that. Your body will do it if you stop poisoning it, okay? It's about toxicity, okay? Like, things help with this, okay? Drinking water, sleeping, all those regular things, getting sunlight. Your body will naturally detox itself, okay? For the most part, unless it's damaged in certain areas. Again, there is no one blueprint protocol that helps everybody. Just drink more water, get sleep. Oh God. I find that with consistency, it's sort of like a hope issue, okay? People lose hope over time. This is like your stamina, right? If you have an unlimited production of hope, believe me, you can do anything. You can move mountains, okay? Some people would call that faith, right? So I find that there's really 3 main producers of hope, okay? I'm gonna call it hope from now. Now, there's family and there's friends, okay? Those are the first 2. A good support system is really important, right, when it comes to healing. Like, I would say I have the best of those, family and friends, close people that really understand me and they help me out and they understand what I have to do and what I'm all about. But the third one I find is your faith. It is a belief system. I'm not here to preach to you about stuff and faith, but I'm just telling you I follow Jesus and it works for me. I just barely touched on that one. Don't unfollow. Make sure you subscribe. More tips, health tips. That's what we do here. Tip number 5. Just make sure you follow a good mentor, okay? Because this is really important. I had some good mentors. But here's what you want to do. When looking for a mentor, make sure they actually have some experience in healing, okay? Did they heal themselves? Look at their results. If they healed themselves, well, maybe you can... why would you follow somebody that hasn't done it themselves? That's always weird. Like, you can get tips off of Google. Oh yeah, drink more water, get more sleep, whatever, get more sunlight. You're going to get those tips on Google. Like, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. Or a biophysicist, right? Sarah Ballantyne. Like, she's a very smart person. She's been one of my mentors. Does everyone have 100% everything correct? No. There's a lot of smart people out there that are incorrect in a couple areas. Mostly right. A couple areas. They get focused on one thing and they're, it's okay. But look at the results, okay? Look at how people are healing in different communities. Just don't be so set on one thing or one person either. That's why, again, people are so mainstream about things. Eat a balanced diet, blah, 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 blah. Not that I recommend that. Number 6. This is the 6. Final one, okay? Final one. But take this to heart, okay? Don't be afraid to make changes, Okay, I've sort of alluded to that over the last 5 tips, but like, people get stuck, okay? They get really stuck in this, like, well, let's say they start out like a bad mentor and they're stuck in vegan, and then it's like, well, I'm not healing. Like, I healed this and I healed this, but then I'm like, oh, I'm stuck in here and my gut's messed up. I'm having all this gas and bloating, and oh God, I feel like crap, you know, I feel terrible, and now I'm having these metabolic issues and my hormones are all, I lost my period and all this other stuff. Like, dude, something's not right. Like, just because you heal acne doesn't mean you found the optimal diet, okay? Like, trust me. Like, I know some people set out to heal like one small thing, and they're, oh yes, it's amazing. They tell everybody. And then they start to have issues, and they're afraid to come out and be like, okay, I'm having issues here. Maybe it's not perfect. Like, there's a real fear of that for people. I see that so many times. Like, I get so many messages from like ex-vegetarians and vegans. They're like, the community is hardcore, and it's like you get ostracized because you're so in deep with one ideal, you know, one mental system. Like, that's why it's so important not to be biased. Like, okay, I had this person ask me a question yesterday. I'm going to sort of simplify it here. She asked me yesterday how I haven't developed an eating disorder. Okay? Well, that's a good question. I get asked that. I've been asked that a few times, actually. And a lot of people have told me they've developed an eating disorder on AIP, the Adamimmune protocol. And I get that. Yeah, I totally get that. Look, you have to make changes. You have to be adaptable. And I think that's why I was able to, like, you know, dodge that bullet. Adaptability. Like, oh, Adam, what are you doing? Is that organic wildflower honey that you're putting on cheese? Could I have done that in the before time? No. Can I recommend this to pretty much anyone right now? Would I? No. Adaptability, guys. I never gave up, and that's why I can do that now. I healed certain areas, I was able to come back, and now I can eat some specific types of dairy and even some specific types of sugar, right? It's important not to get set on ideals, you know, because I'm like, oh, all sugar is bad. I started out that way for sure. All sugar is bad, all dairy is bad, blah, 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 blah. Vegans, all meat is bad. Well, there are certainly some inflammatory meats, right? And some ones that aren't inflammatory for me will be for somebody else. There are definitely beef allergies. That is a thing. I didn't realize it starting out, but now I know. So many people have told me in the comments over the years. I 100% will create a system, okay? It's coming down the line, but telling people to just eat a few foods starting out isn't going to work for most people. 50% of people are going to fail that way. Some people, like the carnivores, are like, just tell me what to eat. Just tell me what to eat and let me heal. And the other half of people are like, well, I can't seem to give this up. Maybe if I, you know, maybe like recommending everyone to stop eating sugar and then stop eating grains and everything, maybe that's not going to be good. Maybe you can't just recommend people stop eating soda. Maybe you have to slowly transition them. Maybe you have to be like, and I find this with people that are very close to me, okay? That's why I don't know why I didn't realize it sooner. But food swaps are just a really classic idea. Smart. I think they should be implemented into a protocol. So instead of saying, oh, don't drink soda, maybe be like, swap soda for juice. Is it good for me? Not really. But is that a good, smart decision to help people be consistent again over time? I think so. Like, and certainly for somebody starting out, you know, maybe they will be able to skip some steps and go close to the end depending on their experience. I feel like I'm a coward now because I feel like I'm backtracking, but I think this is a good way to go. You know what? I am backtracking. I'm gonna own it, okay? I was wrong in a few areas. I was too strict, too policing. Like I said, I want to help people heal easier, and I can't just tell people to eat beef, salt, and water, okay? That's just not going to work for everybody. Somebody with a thyroid issue or metabolic imbalance may not be able to do that starting out. It's kind of like, okay, the cleaning your room part, but sometimes people stuff everything in the closet. Oh yeah, I'm going dirty keto, stuff all those sugar in the closet, all right? But that doesn't work for everybody. I don't know if that's a great metaphor, but it works in my head, okay? Clean your room, okay? But don't just stuff it all in one place. Like, focus, look around, take one thing off one place. Focus on another one. Take another place, eliminate a different food from a food group, okay? Slowly release all your inflammation. Slowly detox. Don't overload your body with toxins, okay? Maybe this should be a slow process. What works for you doesn't work for another, okay? And that's all I got to say about that. That was my notes, guys. Hey, I stuck to it pretty good. No, I didn't. Boy, I really went off on tangents there, but hopefully this was helpful. And if it was, you know, I don't mind if you share the video. That would be awesome. Give me one of those likes. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you next time.